Hello, Attactioneers. Welcome to the Attack Action Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Taylor Morrow, and everybody's here. That means Colin, Zayne, and Blake. Hello, Zayne. How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm pretty psyched. Colin, how are you doing?
Fantastically well. Blake, how are you doing?
I'm doing my best, every day, and sometimes it's enough.
Dudes, I think that was the greatest intro we've ever done.
We did it. We figured it out.
Solved.
Okay, memorize that, and we'll say it every time from now on.
Exactly how we did it. We nailed it. The energy's palpable. This is episode 90. We are very close to 100 literal episodes of the main feed podcast. That's pretty exciting.
Is it episode?
Colin has a point of order.
Is it episode 90 if 89 disappeared? Or is this episode 89?
This is episode 89. Okay,
Redux.
well.
The director's cut brought to you by what's his name?
The reason why this is episode 90 is because 89 is completely...
We should just skip 89, actually.
We'll leave it in the lore.
Spiritually, that episode happened.
That's true.
Like, 3 of us went through that process. We then saw it die and mourned it, and it would be rude to episode 89 if we just called this one episode
That's
89.
true.
So this is episode
Okay.
90.
Okay. I think that's a good point, and I'm sorry that I brought it up. But now everyone knows
It's okay.
that there's a secret hidden episode that if they search for deep and hard enough, they might uncover.
If they pay enough Patreon dollars.
Yeah, I will send you the raw files, and you could,
The raw
you could piece Zayne's 22 recordings together. Because his network was struggling. No, it's great to be here. I'm glad we're all here. That episode was rough for many reasons. So here we are, episode 90. Yeah, that's crazy. It took us 4 years to get to 90 episodes. That seems too long.
Well, if you do somebody will do the math. I'm not going to do it right now. But if you do 2 main podcast episodes a month for 4 years, and then sometimes skip one, you get to 90 in May of 2024 is how you do it.
100%.
Technically, of things we've put out, it is like 112 or something. So we passed it a little while ago. But anyway, here we are. I would like to, at the top, issue a correction to myself on my most recent time snap episode I did about health and fitness. I talked about heart rate zones. There's 1 through 5. And I corrected myself in this episode already. And I don't know why my brain stopped working, probably because I just talked to myself literally in my room all alone. Not that it's anybody's fault. It's just my choice. I did that. Heart rate zones. I talked about areas of training, blah, blah, blah. Heart rate zones 1 through 5, which are really popular right now, is just another way to rate your level of exertion. And the way you do that, I mean, actually, you would need a blood test to know what heart rate zone or training zone you're in and what level of exertion it is, because you would be testing lactate levels. But people approximate it with heart rates, which is okay, but it's much better to use RPE. So disregard what I said in that episode, the 9 of you or 2 of you that probably listened to that. But if this is getting you wet, then you should be a patron and get a little taste of the behind the scenes.
So do you
stuff we
you
got
just
going on for you.
drain their blood while they're running? Is that the other option? You're just like, give me your blood, but don't stop running.
No, I mean, you would have to do it in a laboratory, obviously, on a treadmill. And then, but you also that's why heart rate zones are like a little sus, because you're just like, you can kind of know the level of effort you are giving.
Yeah. It's either not enough or too much. There's no in between.
Yeah.
At least for me in my unathletic ass.
Hey, your ass is perfect. This is
Speaking
apparently
of
our
heart rate
horned up
zones, Blake,
episodes.
do you
Oh,
have
yeah.
a new way to get your heart rate zones moved?
Sheesh. No, you guys, I got a Peloton for my house, which is I think that's something where I've lost a bunch of weight, I've gained a bunch of weight, I've lost a bunch of weight, and now I've gained a bunch of weight again. So it's like I need to figure out something that can make me, since pandemic, none of you guys have known me as Skinny Blake. So I think one thought process was it's a mental thing to get out of the house. So maybe I need to introduce the equipment to the house. And that way, even after done podcasting at 10:37 and the gym's been closed for an hour and a half, I could get on the Peloton for 30 minutes at 11 o'clock at night or whatever. And I'm 2 rides in. The first one, I buckled legs as I was walking up the stairs. Like, oh my God, like I can barely feel this. But it feels like it's going to be equal parts. Like, I can't do this stuff on the bike at the gym either, because the dude is telling me, make the resistance harder, pedal faster, do it, and now go down, and now go up, and now go. This is called an interval. And it's like, okay, well, would I have done the research to do that? I've ridden bikes at the gym before and haven't done intervals. So it is something where it's like, I do think this extra part, what's the best thing you say of like, oh, I could build decks for flesh and blood all the time, but if I don't have a community to play, if I don't have a bike community to talk to and ride with, maybe I'll stop this if I just do it on my own all the time. So some Gillian from back in my high school, I reached out to her. She's 1,100 rides in already. So I don't know if we'll be like, hey, what's going on? I'm 2 rides in. Any tips? Somebody else I know through work at Netflix, he lost a bunch of weight on Peloton. So I was like, how did you do it? And he's like, make sure it always feels hard, and then you'll just lose weight or whatever. And I was like, okay, I can do that.
Just put a bear behind you and just...
It's a station.
Yeah, but the thought of it, though.
You put a stationary bear behind your stationary bike. It's still scary. What if it falls on you?
I got to stay just out of reach.
Intervals are great. They're the most bang for your
buck. What heart rate zone do they put you in? 11?
I do not have my heart rate hooked up to it, so maybe I need to...
No, you don't.
I think you're supposed to cut yourself.
You don't need to.
And let the blood out is what Taylor was saying. It's the only way to test it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I'm very funny. That's great, Blake.
No, I think I would need a Fitbit or something.
I think that's awesome that you got that. I hope the Peloton company stays around long enough that it stays useful. I don't know if there's like a backup plan. I feel like they've had a lot of financial issues.
It was pretty cheap, too.
Yeah, I think
so I'm
my
taking advantage of that.
That's why. It's because
likes
everybody
it.
has sold theirs and they aren't selling millions anymore because everyone started going outside again. But that's great. Then you could ride a real bike. I have a friend who got really into riding regular bikes, and he goes to like on 100-mile rides like on the weekend. And it's fucking crazy. It's, his whole little...
It's only like 5 hours.
It's just going to like shape your legs like crazy if you do it for like 5 months, I feel like. So what's crazy is like, for as annoying as I am now, like when I was skinny, Blake, like there was no real, there was no real, what is that called? It wasn't top of the food chain, but it was like, I'm feeling confident.
Yeah, confident skinny Blake. Watch out.
Like maybe I just win at Colin just based on sheer confidence at that point.
Zayne, what's new with you, bud?
Yeah.
We're coming up on our 5th anniversary, my wife and I. So we're going to Oregon next week.
Congratulations.
I'm going to spend a week in a little cabin near a river and miss all the pre-releases, which is a bummer, but excited to step away from work and everything. Spend some time with her. So you got
married in 2019?
That's correct. Right before the before times. Yeah.
Zayne, you got married like right before I did as well. We're
Oh,
coming
really?
up on our 5-year marriage anniversary as well.
Oh, congrats. Nice.
I was
didn't know
about to be like, me too, except I got married in 2018. So
that.
I remember when
So you're experienced with a
I
5-year anniversary.
remember. Yeah. And it was just as nice
Yeah,
as going to a beautiful lake or river house in Oregon.
I bet
I've been married 5 years too, guys.
To skinny playing.
Married to the game, bro.
That's tight. Without being too specific, where in Oregon?
Newport.
All right, now tell me the address so I can come up with you.
We're gonna deliver a fruit basket. You just have to tell us exactly.
You know what's crazy is Newport, Oregon, 100% is closer than San Diego to me, and
Yes.
we're in the same state.
And I did look up how close the closest pre-release is, just in case it happened to be right there. It's like an hour drive. That's a hard sell. But if it was like walkable or a 5-minute drive, I would have made it happen.
Nice. Well,
An
congratulations.
hour drive's a bit of a tall ask. Yeah.
That's awesome.
How about you, Colin?
Well, this past week, I went to beautiful Mountain View, California, for a big project. We did a Google I/O, and I was made to feel very stupid by a billionaire. Not gonna say which one, but it rhymes with Vergay Grin.
Does it?
Sure. It's Sergey Brin. I'm just saying, he doesn't listen to this. There's no way Sergey Brin listens to this. He wasn't necessarily a jerk to me, but he talked shit about the hard work me and my team did right next to me. So that was funny. Everyone was very concerned for my well-being, which was also kind of funny. Until it wasn't, and you're just like, dude, I'm fine. Like, if I had $134 billion, I probably would care less about things too. That's just the way it works. He is more human than we will ever be. So yeah, I've been gone for a long time. It was up there for like a week. Then we came down for like 2 days, and then we were in like Bakersfield for my brother-in-law's graduation. And so now I've just got back today. And so I've been at home like 2 days in the past like 2 weeks. So I'm happy to be back in my messy room talking to you guys so we can talk about the flesh and blood that really matters, the card game, not hearts or their rates or the blood levels. Talking about cards.
Stationary bears.
Thresholds. Fun fact about Mountain View, it is also much closer than San Diego and is roughly the same distance to Newport, Oregon for me.
Dude, I tried to look up Armory, but it was on the Tuesday or like, wait, no. It was on the Thursday night that we decided to do our cursed recording. So the only Armory I could have gone to in the San Jose area was missed at that time as well, which is probably fine. I don't think I really had time to go, but you know.
Oh, dude, you would have had the best time.
Have you guys done that? Have played Fab on vacation serendipitously?
I want to.
No, because every time I have to go play Fab, it is a vacation for me.
I have. I actually have. I was in Japan with my wife and 2 friends, and it was during Outsiders pre-release. So it was another like traveling during pre-release thing. And as a Ranger and Assassin fan, I was like, I cannot believe I'm missing the Outsiders pre-release. And we were like arriving in Osaka on the Sunday. And I was like, surely there's pre-release in Osaka. And there was. And it was at like 6:30 p.m. And we arrived in Osaka at like 5:30 and needed to check into the hotel. So I literally checked into the hotel and then ran by myself back to the subway and arrived at the place at like 6:35. And they like let me play. And it was great. And I fatigued everybody with Riptide.
That's tight.
Dude, that's epic.
The next time we go to the Philippines, I'm going to try to play with the people in Manila because they look like they're awesome. They always have a good time.
We drafted with them in LA. They're super nice.
Yeah.
Team Unbox.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I went to Arizona once and it was like, oh, it's a CC armory. And I drove 45 minutes with my deck and my aunt was like, what the heck? I thought we were going to do. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll be back. And then I get there and it was like.
Just the Vor brothers.
It was
Hanging out.
Thanksgiving after Uprising. So that meta. And they were like, oh, everyone said they wanted to draft and we're drafting Tales of Arya. And I immediately left. Drove another 30 minutes back to my aunt's house and was like, surprise, I'm back. And was like, let's go eat. And she's like, I just ate leftovers. So she watched me go eat.
What a nice aunt.
Nice. Tight. Well,
Shout outs. Let's do shout outs. I'm going to shout out Tao Tao. I just watched, and it's kind of a tangential shout out to Alan Lube. Go check out that channel. He did some cool videos where he had experts in classes come and talk about the cards for the new set, Part the Mistveil. And Tao Tao obviously was doing the assassin stuff. And he hilariously has Tao Tao animated as a cat that just talks in a wide mouth. It's so funny. I laughed a couple of times just because of the cat. So it's really great. And it dawned on me as he was talking in the end of the episode about how cool / hard assassin is to play. Like, it's pretty easy to play, but the hard part is you have to track your pitch stack, their pitch stack. You have all of these micro decisions and you have to know specifically what their deck is doing so that you can assassinate them, and how hard that is. And then that he's a big Azuri main. And I'm like, you know what? That is the most apt thing, as definitely the best assassin player in the world, that he mains the leader of the assassins, Azuri. Makes total sense. So shout out to Tao Tao, hashtag free Tao Tao.
Tao Tao?
y'all be
And
Coming up.
Yeah.
He's going to be unleashed
it
soon.
is. He's going to be unleashed and you
I'm
guys are
excited.
fucked.
get ready.
Tao Tao wins
Totally.
world champions this year because he's not fatigued from the last year of playing like everyone else.
He's fresh.
Yeah, coming out with a bunch of prison tats and and he's yoked as fuck now.
Prison Tatao.
His heart rate levels are off the charts.
Off the charts.
Tattoos for Tao Tao.
Hell yeah.
I like that.
Well,
All right, that's it. Any other shout outs, my friends?
just you guys. I like you guys. You're great.
Hey, we like you.
Cool. Well,
Okay, great. I'm glad everybody had stuff to say about that. Let's get into our main topic. Guess what? This weekend, shit went down. The world premiere of Part the Mistveil happened. They should have spelled mist with a Y, because if it's going to be mist as the code and mystic should have been anyway. World premiere happened, limited, etc. And we had something unsavory happen in our community where a prominent commentator was inappropriate to his female counterpart on stream. And a lot of drama kind of happened about that. And we're going to talk about it for a little bit here. Blake, you want to take it away? Get us going?
It was interesting, tuning into the premiere on Friday night. It was the time zones were crazy of okay, they're a day ahead of us. So Thursday night at midnight is when you could watch just 4 rounds of just open up your packs sealed and try everything. And that was okay, this is kind of cool. And there's some people commentating and it's okay, maybe these aren't my favorite. I'm going to tune in tomorrow so I can watch the actual calling. I think competitive version of this is more interesting because I want to see this game as more competitive. And then that next day on that Friday for us, Saturday for Japan, they're gearing up to do day one of this. That's the end of day Friday for us, like 5 o'clock. So and so. I'm watching some clips of the night before because I can fast forward appropriately, or if this is interesting to me, I can keep watching or not. And there was a couple times where I was like, well, what's going on here? Like, this is a little awkward. There's a couple times where it was like, oh, I don't know why we're going that way with this stuff. And I think there's an idea of like, well, Pound Town or Induce and Loose, or like all these, oh, these are sexy cards with sexy names and whatever. But those were how those cards were designed. That's how the art director went with this. That's how the lore went with the succubus. It's not how we're going to be treating people. Crank it and bank it. Like we didn't do Crank It and have that go as an invitation to be like, hey, do you want to induce illusionment with me? And like, so seeing that on the highest level was a little weird. And it was maybe 1.5. I don't know. I don't know if it was jokes that it was like, let's all do this, or if it's inside jokes, whatever. But there was a couple times, and seeing that, it didn't make me mad. It just made me disappointed, because I think a lot of people have expressed over the last 3 years that I've been around in this game that thank God it's not like Magic. Thank God I have a little bit of a different outlet than, like, it's a little bit more mature than the Pokemon crowd. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh is this, but Flesh and Blood, we all smell good here. We're all respectful here. We're all can listen to someone and take them at face value and not treat them less than they are because of this. And obviously I'm saying it as generic and clinical as possible, because that's like the baseline here. And so to watch somebody treat a coworker on a very public thing where this is an upfront. Upfronts are something for me in the television world. Upfront is where you show all your advertisers, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. There's going to be Young Sheldon's series finale is going to be next week. We want your ad dollars. This is what we're doing. This is Fabs, come buy our cards next month. They're going to be the coolest cards ever. Japan, come enjoy this game. This is what our game can do. Look how fun and exciting these cards are. Flake and crew are the, hey, I'm going to usher you into this experience where you can see these wonderful players play this wonderful game. And that's what you're going to want to replicate over the next 4 months, what you're seeing today. And that is not the time to do inside jokes. That is not the time to have a date on camera. That's probably the meanest thing I'll like equivocate that to. But like, whether you are attracted to a coworker or not, whether you are, this would be cool if she's my girl. I don't need to hear that when I'm tuning in to see the brand new cards. That is what we want to focus on. That I know that our personalities are becoming like, oh, it's cool to see Michael Fang go across the country and see all this, but I don't need to know about Michael Fang's lunch order, sexuality, like anything of 17 different things. And that goes double, I think, for someone who's being paid by a company to go across the pond and be on the upfronts during them advertising. So that was a long intro to say I made a tweet where I put 3 clips of that on YouTube and kind of said, hey, is there anybody in the world that we could do this that's not doing this? Because I think this is really important for not only when we say this doesn't happen in our community, it is happening in our community right now in front of us in the most public way. We either need to make sure this never happens again, or we can't really be holier than thou and say Flesh and Blood is different from those other games. Flesh and Blood values everyone. Flesh and Blood, like, if I told one of my friends, I've told all my friends I play Flesh and Blood. I've told all my friends the gravity in which I love this game and whatever. And if they saw a clip where it was whether it's sexual harassment or whatever we want to say. And if they had sent that to me and said, is this your card game? Because it's like on a global scale, like this is the article that got to BuzzFeed of like, watch this awkward moment where this commentator oversteps the line, and it's BuzzFeed article. And I just spent 3 years and blank $1,000 because I don't even want to admit how much money I've spent on this game. I'd be mortified. And if it was a brand new person walks into my armory on a Tuesday and says, I'd love to play that game. If that person is a woman in her 20s or 30s, and I go, great, you're going to love it. And she goes and wants to see the brand new video on YouTube that's going to tell her what to do and how to draft Mistveil or look at Mistveil and here's what Mistveil matters. And she sees that as her first introduction to our stuff. I don't think I could be proud of being part of this card game. And so that was my initial like, holy crap. Like, I think this is the time to stand up and say something, because I don't think sitting back because somebody is so entrenched in our community and not saying something, like, yes, some people probably didn't say something because maybe that would affect their relationship with the company. Maybe they didn't say something because they know one of these people a little more closely than I don't know him. So there wasn't a valve in the back of my head of, I can't do that because I would feel bad or whatever. Yes, there's not that matters, but there is the idea of something bad is happening publicly, we should address it. And it is a thing where if LSS was like, no, we stand behind our commentator and these things, that would be a clear moment where people should have a thing of, well, I don't know if I will stand behind this game anymore. So whirlwind moment, Friday night for us, Japan, Saturday morning for them. And it was interesting to see the reaction from the company of prolonging. Okay, we showed you round one. I believe there was an apology from Flake. I did not watch it because I was eating dinner at that time. And then round two is being not teased, but it's coming up. And then, the time lapse. Well, it's probably round 3 right now. Time lapse again. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And then James White comes on and basically says everything you would want him to as a flesh and blood person who does care about this, and was like, I would love some action from a company. It's not something we see very much because I feel like bigger companies can like not brush stuff under the rug, but they're so big that you're going to go to Starbucks whether the CEO addresses a Saturday night thing or not. But James White got on and said, this matters to me. This matters to my company. I apologize to Yui. I apologize to anybody that was offended by these comments. This is what we want in our community to be. This matters to us. And it was something where it was like, holy crap, I am going to cancel this stream right now. We'll come back tomorrow without the person in question, and you will see that stream tomorrow. Thank you for everything. Goodbye. And so that 7-hour timeline is a crazy thing where if you weren't live watching, I don't know how it can be described to you, because some of those videos were zapped from the internet pretty quickly. I don't think you can see the videos of the incident, I guess is what we would say. And you can't see the apology from Flake, but you can see James White's, here's what I'm going to say about it. So that's the beginning to the end. And then I'll just go ahead and shut up and let you guys, because I think that's the bare bones for what actually happened this weekend.
Yeah. I will just add, just for completionist, that there were other people who came out after your tweet and,
True.
shared their own experience with Flake, and they weren't good. And I think, that was a kind of tipping point. And so, it's like you didn't like what you saw. You said something, which is like totally what you should do in that situation. And other people were empowered to speak up because of that. And then the company took action. So I think, that's the missing block in that step of things. But yeah, I think,
Right.
Onward to
And I think interesting about that was it wasn't one, it was multiple. And if you're gonna go, well, multiples two, I mean, there's some stuff that like you hear through the grapevine. I'm not saying it's 40 people are coming forward, but there was an apology.
It's also like it takes in our society courage for women, especially, or any marginalized community, to come forward and talk about stuff, because for women, every time it happens, it's like all of a sudden we're talking about their character and whether or not what they have to say is valid, and questioning their character by coming forward and stuff. And that's what continues to make it hard, is because that is like a knee-jerk reaction some people have. And it's like, well, no, this person is telling you that they have been hurt or have felt unsafe. And this is an issue with you, that you can't handle that truth, not that what they're saying is valid, And so it makes it hard for when you're like, well, why would you say that? You're this way. I don't believe you, or whatever, And so even though a number is smaller than 50, that doesn't mean that's the end of that number. You know what I'm saying? Even though that there was a moment and some space for some people to feel safe enough and brave enough to say things, that doesn't mean that is the only people, So whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. It's that people were saying stuff, so that means that there are potentially more than people who said things that are affected. Did I make myself clear?
Yeah. I mean, historically,
I hope so. Cool.
Not, things don't go great for the people who speak out in these situations, like the victims of this kind of stuff. So it's hard to come up and say it. It's hard to share that publicly. It's hard to do any of those things. Like, it's vulnerable. It is, scary. There's a whole lot of things tied to it that make it, easier to stay quiet. So yeah, you have to assume if there's a couple, there's more, and that's that. And I think, what I do think, is the really important part is that this was a workplace thing. Like, this is, and that, not that that's different or it should be held to like, it's a different standard. It should just be this way across the board, but there's very clear guidelines for, workplace behaviors, what qualifies as harassment, what qualifies as a hostile work environment. I think, that was displayed on stream for everybody. And that's exactly why they took it down. You can't watch it anymore because they don't want anyone to see that. Like, most places have a zero tolerance policy. So
yeah,
like if I did that at work, I probably wouldn't work there anymore. It's just that straightforward, as much as you think it's a goof, you're trying to be funny, you're trying to be entertaining. You're not a self-employed comedian on, a stand-up stage. Like, you are a person who's being paid to represent a for-profit company that has a brand and everything, that they have built that you could very easily destroy all on your own. So, I think that's kind of what makes it open and shut for me. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't really want to go into like the people taking sides and arguing about this shit because it's not worth arguing. I guess, we could do our part of like trying to convince people why this matters. But like some of these people, like it's like not on Twitter. Like, I'm not doing that on Twitter. I'm not holding discourse of important, nuanced things with people I don't know in a place where it's just like, people being disingenuous and just like whatever, misinterpreting typed words and not actually like thinking about the people behind anything that's happening or being said. So, I think for me, it's just, it was great to see LSS take action. Blake, it was great to see you say something when you know, because I wasn't watching in real time. So to like see that, I just saw like a couple of them pop up and I was busy. And then all of a sudden all this shit went down. I was just like, holy crap. Like, you know, like this is bad if like this is the response, you know, like no companies don't just react this way because they're worried that, you know, cancer culture is coming to get them. It's just like, no, like this is deemed, you know, bad for them, you know, financially. And that's, you know, I think, you know, they're also building a community, so they care about the people, but like at the end of the day, it impacts their bottom line. And that's not good if like their community doesn't feel safe or good about, you know, the spaces that they're creating for them. And they're very, you know, they're very, you know, intentional about the space that they are creating for people and that they want to create for people, and like the way that this game functions in all of our lives. So it's great to see that that's how they respond. So hopefully that shows a big example, a symbol of like, if you think this shit's okay, this, you know,
we do
we do not. And
Yeah, the owner and creator of the game does not agree with you.
yeah, so if you
And
needed
he
a
is trying to
bigger,
foster a community that does not have that
Yeah.
in it. Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I think like the one thing that was going through my head for all of this is like, it's better to have these hard conversations with all detractors or whataboutums or, oh, you can't be dogpiling. The hard conversations that I'm going to have or that we're going to have about this kind of stuff is way better than normalizing the behavior. And now women are the ones having that hard conversation of somebody can see that person do that on the broadcast and now treat me like that at my armory. Like I'd rather have awkward conversations for the next year so women can feel more safe from top
Absolutely.
to bottom at Flesh and Blood stuff.
And like, you know, the level of uncomfortable you feel or perhaps anger having these conversations is fractional compared to the people who are made to feel unsafe or harmed, you know, because that's how powerful those sort of things can be, you know. And a diverse community is better for everybody, you know. And I really appreciate that there is a hard stance having been taken, because I would like my community to be more diverse. You know, that makes our community better. It makes every person involved a better person to interact with different people, get different perspectives. It gives you more empathy. It is enriching, etc. You know, there's a number of reasons for that and that sort of thing. And, you know, 100%, we need more women in our game, you know. We, as the Attack Action Podcast, support women. I don't know. You know, that's it. We're there. Boom. Thumbs up. Anything else we want to talk about in this realm? I do appreciate anybody who is on the social medias fighting the good fight out there, giving it to them and trying to call out as many people as we can. And, you know, I appreciate that. That's what I got to say. There we go.
I think it's worth fighting. I think I'm bad at it because I get so emotional. So it is kind of like presenting facts and backing out of the way is kind of like, I maybe should have gone to one of those, what do they call it? High debate classes in high school. I didn't ever hit debate because it wasn't an honor roll class for my high school, but like I think there's a couple of stuff. Maybe I should go to a community college to learn some of these fallacies or whatever, because there's a lot of smart people that immediately pull up like, bro, the tolerance idea. I was like, okay, I've heard of this before. Of like, oh, you got to be tolerant of the no, you got to be you got to be intolerant of the intolerant, and like, okay, blah blah blah. But like, I'm losing the plot here. But it is something where I think presenting facts of this is crazy. I hope something is done by this, and kind of like, yes, I could talk to the next 100 people that post on this because there was that much interaction with that post, but it was kind of just overwhelming. Of like, I'm gonna talk to my Discord with people that I know my intention or know what's going on here, instead of the like, it literally, the scoreboard is like 100 and something people agree with you, and there's like 3 or 4 who are very against you. It's like, not saying to echo chamber yourself, but realize that if there's only 4 people who are completely or against you, maybe you can feel a little bit better of like ignoring their opinion on some certain things. Whenever there's, I think one thing that was not crazy, it makes sense, but on the likes on that post was pretty much all of the women that I know play Flesh and Blood were literally like, yes, please. I don't know if a like is a yes, I agree with this wholeheartedly, but it was like, there are so many women in this game liking this post and also maybe retweeting it. And it is something where I would rather care about their opinion on this issue than number 5 dude or number 55 dude. Like, I think this is centered around women in our game and do they feel safe or not?
And they should be made to feel safe.
True.
True. How do we now segue into talking about Part the Mistveil, the new set in Flesh and Blood?
Well, there's a lot of
There's a new set coming up.
nuance in the conversation we just had. So
It's time to get zen, bro.
if we
It's not an enigma what I would do to move forward.
solving the enigma of the patriarchy through our zen-like state of mind in the
Nuance.
face of misogyny, we talk about Part the Mistveil.
Okay, I choose Colin. Colin did a great job. Well done. You did it. That's why you can stay on the show.
Thank
All right.
God.
Here we
Take that, Sergey
Here
Brin.
we goes. I hope he listens.
He's right there. This
what is he going to
podcast
do?
sucks. Actually, no.
Google Podcasts is shut down. He can't even get us anymore. He killed Google Podcasts.
He's actually the only one that sent in something for our contest about heavy.
Yeah, we gotta send him $50.
Couldn't-
We gotta send him $50.
Set overview. Okay, we're going to take the 10,000 foot view of Part the Mistveil.
By the way, make
And
sure you're
our
on
thoughts.
Fabrary and not any other spots, or Fabrec. One of those two works.
Shout out to those websites. Zayne, you start us off here.
Cool. Let's do it. Okay. This set is sweet. I'm excited. It gives me Tales of Aria vibes a little bit in the sense that like they're all playing with the same talent. So I guess it's very similar to Tales of Aria in that regard. But I don't know. There's something about this set. There's something about talents that just is more exciting to me. I do like heavy hitters. I like the, trading blows math kind of gameplay, but these like talent and exciting new effects like transcending are just such a fun way to make the game interesting. And I'm very excited to see the impact that this set will have.
Tight. I couldn't agree more.
Colin.
I mean, or Colin. Let's
I want
move
to hear
Colin.
Colin's opinion specifically.
Yeah. Fuck
Hell
me.
yeah.
Colin's cooler. Better
I
glasses, better mustache.
am. Thank you. I'm also very hype on this set. this set looks tight. I think talents are tight. I'm glad talents are back. I think it's exciting that it's one shared talent. That is the first time we've done this. I won't count Evo in this because mechanologist is a class, not a talent. Take that, mechanologist truthers out there.
Shit. We're going to get canceled, Colin.
That's fine. I could take it. No, it's really exciting. Looking at fabrary.net /part the Mistveil. The art is so good. There's so much blue, but it doesn't feel, I mean, I'm sure some of it is kind of samey. It's a lot of like flowy, kind of like circular curved, kind of shapes in the different art, but I think it works for the theme. I think it works for the classes. I'm fine with people just hating on me, loving illusionists for like the foreseeable future. I think there's never getting away from that. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm a little sad that it seems like Zayne is not great, but it's new. You know, people haven't had time to figure it out yet. So hopefully he's got some cool stuff.
Zayne's sweet. Zayne is sweet. Sorry, I got distracted. My dog brought her frisbee in, dropped it in just the door so I could only see the frisbee, and then her paw just came and grabbed it, and then she ran in with it in her mouth.
What does she think about part of this whale?
She loves it. She's all about it.
Bark, bark,
there's
bark, bark, bark.
There's many lakes, and she loves the water, so she's into that, and she loves feet. I agree with everybody on so far how cool this set looks. I also really like the level of kind of nuanced interactions there are, and kind of very specific, or not very specific, but kind of a generalized game plan for each hero that you kind of have to play around. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times it has felt like this deck is going to block me and I need to not die to being blocked, you know? And they're just going to do kind of the same thing. But now it's like, well, I can like set up this little transcend combo, boom, in your face, or I can kind of overwhelm you with all of these ward things that just keep surging and that you can't like get rid of, or I'm going to just play all of your blues and I'm going to block for 9 and then pay 1 and play all of your blues. What are you going to do about that? You know, so there's like those kind of levels of interaction and thought processes and things to consider while playing or playing against. And I think that makes it really cool. The other thing that I just can't really wrap my brain around yet is just how many special cards, different versions of shit there is in this set. And I'm just like, oh God, how do I figure out what I want to collect and, you know, what actually I like the best? You know what I mean? So I think that has been also really fun. And the whole fucking golden pack, dude, in the booster box is just, how have we not been doing this the whole time? You know what I mean? I guess it would be less dope, but this has blown my mind.
I hope I get a gold pack. That'd be sick. I really want to, like, I didn't get a single Marvel hero from Heavy Hitters. And maybe I opened like 6 boxes, so that's kind of on me. But like, I want to open up something cool. Like, I think one thing that's kind of cool is if you do decide to bust open a Mistveil hero and play it forever, you could probably get the 6 or so transcend double-sided Marvels that you're gonna play.
Yeah.
And that won't be too expensive, and that way that could be the start of your cool deck, and maybe depending on which hero you get, that'll be the one you can do. It doesn't seem astronomically crazy where you're like, I'm going to be spending $8,000 to get everything I want here. But you could spend 400 and not be halfway there. But like, you're like, oh, okay. Like, I think the black and white Spectral Shield token for some reason was so cool.
So
and I'm
good.
like, oh, would that be something I'm obsessed with? Is black and white
black and
alters
white
of
one?
stuff?
So in the gold pack,
Yeah.
there's 2 spectral shields that sandwich the hero card, and one of the spectral shields is green and one is white. It's the same art as the new blue one, but we have a green and a white,
That's tight.
and they both
It's
go
crazy.
hard. Like both of
They
them
go
look great.
hard. Yeah. I think for sure Marvel Transcend cards and Marvel New. I'm going for that right away. I think you just got to, and probably Cold Foil Extended Art Mask of Nightmares. But after that, we're gonna chill,
Dude, that mask goes hard. It is.
dude. The extended art, and you're just like, wait a second, those are too many arms and hands down there. This is a nightmare. It's crazy. It's
great.
A great reveal.
It is recurring.
Well, that's it.
Pretty good, Blake.
100. They did it. I think I was going to say.
You
I
both
think
think at the same time.
I think the idea that it is special because they haven't done this kind of thing before, or they don't do it all the time, is a really great call out, because sometimes it feels like some sets are less special. But in order to have special sets, you need to have sets that are less special. Which like sounds
Very
stupid
true.
when you say it, but like I think that's very true. Like if every set had like a gold pack in the top, then it'd be like, okay, well that's just the thing. You always hope you get that. That's the chase card, blah blah blah. But this one having the whole slew of, common marvels for all the mystic, double-sided cards, all this stuff that is fun to open, fun to own, fun to have in your deck, fun to have on a shelf, and collectible, tradable, sellable, in all these different ways, I think is great. I think the value on boxes has not been great for a while. So I hope that this at least makes opening them feel really good and gives people things that they want to track down to, bling out their decks for the heroes that they're now falling in love with. Blake, what did you think? Was it the same thing? Tell me it was the same thing. It wasn't.
I think for every time that I was like,
It was
what
the
the
same
heck is
thing.
going on here for bright
That was my
lights?
Blake impression.
Or it's the same thing. Bright lights didn't have good majestics. What do we
Marvels.
Marvels.
call them? Marvels. There's a lot of M words in this game, and now there's Mistveil, and there's Mystic, and there's more.
Mystic, Mistveil, Majestic Marvels.
Yes, are going to be crazy.
Boom.
So I think if I'm going to complain in November or October when that set came out, because I don't care about the memories or the Steel Souls or whatever, and that's all you really had was the Steel Souls or the red Marvel that nobody can remember what it is at this point. Don't even pretend.
Singularity.
Even the ones listening
Evo
right
Face
now.
Breaker.
Oh my god.
That's the arms.
About to physically assault a co-host from across the. Get me out of here. It is something where these Marvels are super sick, and I am about to buy a couple cases because I do want a gold pack. I do want, I haven't really spent out of pocket for a card since a cold foil Icelander, and that's been a long time ago. There's not. Maybe I should have bought a cold foil Prism when everyone went to Nationals last year. But, I think getting together one of these crazy decks with all the Marvels, there's about to be some cool stuff across the table from you, and you're going to start to feel left out instead of oh, cool, you have a high rarity Tekla deck. Who gives 2 crabs. You're dead.
Yeah, every time you play a prison player, you're like, wow, these cards are crazy. Could my deck look like this? Oh, no, it can't. Okay, never mind then.
Yeah.
Shout out to prison players.
Who are you going to play, Zayne?
As of right now, it's Uzuri. I mean, I hope New can do what I want her to do. I'm still worried about a few matchups, but I'm very in on Assassin right now. But yeah, I really wanted to be in on Zen when the set was spoiled. Just like the ninja with the staff, like I was like, cool. Like maybe this will give me Ira vibes. Like I'm not a ninja player, but like I love Ira. Like the whole defensive Ira blitz, like turn a blitz game into a CC game aesthetic. I love that. And then I was just disappointed by the Mystic Ninja cards. And as I look, like there's literally 4 Mystic Ninja commons. 4. Like that just doesn't feel like enough to build out like a hero. Like we have Wind Chakra, which is like kind of nimbleism. We have Companion of the Claw and Harmony of the Hunt, which are the same card. Effectively, it's 2 for 4 go again, 1 for 3 go again. And then we have Tiger Form and Incantation, and that's it. And like obviously there's ninja cards that play to his strengths of ninja or of tigers, but I'm just disappointed in Zen a little bit. But on the opposite side, I'm more excited for Assassin than I thought I would be.
Tight. Assassin. Love that. This is my take on New so far, is that it will be a good deck, but will struggle from normal Assassin stuff. So Assassin has this like issue of how, and it's a blessing because I'm really going to love this part, but it's like a deck building issue. It's like we have so many attack reactions. Which ones are actually the best for my matchup spread? And then you have just like a variety of attack actions that do a bunch of different stuff, and you kind of want to do a little bit of all of those things because inherently your power level is like slightly lower. But so then like you have that to figure out, and then you're like inherently a defensive deck because especially with New, like I think the most powerful plays will be second cycle, maybe not first cycle, like sometimes Uzuri has proven to be able to do, but then is like, okay, I need defensive-ish cards in my deck as well, and now that's like adding to this other amount of ratio I have. So you have like all of these moving parts when building and playing Assassin. And you know, even though New's like mask and hero ability are like fucking nuts, it's still going to be like hard to figure out what the play patterns are and how you need to play against all of those decks, you know, because Assassin also has like, even though the cards feel very narrow, they're so flexible in how you can play them. And that's like what I really like about the class is that like, okay, these 12 cards are my power cards in this matchup. And I, instead of blocking with them, I need to prioritize playing them, and I'll block with the other ones that are less important and stuff. And so, I mean, I don't know, generally you could say that about every hero, you know, but a blue is a blue in Bravo and you want to throw Crippling Crush, you know what I mean? So, there's a little difference there. So I don't know if the hype on New day one is going to be where it's at, and you're maybe in your basement right now and you're like, I've fucking figured it out. Awesome. Great for you. But with the current data and stuff I have, it feels promising, but is going to take a lot of work. It's not going to be a day one juggernaut as a KO perhaps was. There we go.
Sure. Also, if you don't like the green assassin border, you're wrong. It's the best border we've ever gotten.
A lot of people don't like it. I'm like, what the hell?
I want to see it in person. That's what I want to see. I think it's
I
going
love how jarring
hard
it
in
is.
person.
It's jarring, and I love it.
It looks like old L5R kind of, just like the color and then matching it with the Asian style art.
It does have a vintage feel to it for sure.
Especially Gorgon's gaze. The art on that one is just like a little like kind of older looking. But I think it's tight.
It looks like a Mark Poole card. Like he's done card art for a million years, and like for even like games that are outside of TCG space, like Dominion or
right.
It just like has like the feel of a Mark Poole card. But
what did he
like
do? Blanche? Is that his card this set? Is Blanche?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, it is. Shout out to Mark Poole.
Mm-hmm. So does Meridian Pathway, does she have 10 toes on one foot? Like, not to make this about feet, but like, looks like there's way too many toes on that foot. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us.
What is Meridian Pathway? Is
it's the legendary Mystic Illusionist equipment.
It's the
they're like
footsteps.
all the same size. I do see that.
There's like 10 toes. That's crazy, man.
Are there 5? I see 5.
I feel like there's 6.
Also, it looks like Shock Charmers. It's the Shock Charmers like aesthetic, kind of.
It's dope.
Maybe there's 5.
It's a
I don't know.
card.
I feel like that is this is like a social experiment. Like how many toes are on this foot, or it's like there's that one thing like how many. Yeah, totally. How many lights do you see right now? And it's like it's drawn in such a way that you count the space between a toe.
All right. So if Zen isn't the new menace and new isn't quite there yet, is Enigma the problem child of Mistveil part the Mystic Veil?
I think she is the hero where if your hero doesn't have a game plan into Enigma, you're kind of screwed. And doing 8 damage a turn is not a plan. You need to be doing breakpoints. You need to be doing disruption. You need to be doing maybe a barraging intimidate effect for the brutes can get through some stuff. But ward, and I think what's going on with these living legend heroes? Most of these living legend heroes have an ability where your opponent gets to make more decision points at more priority windows than you, is kind of what a living legend hero is based on. And Enigma, her whole hand is instant speed priority wards, where I get to decide, do I keep my wards that are currently existing, or do I not get the bonus from my cards if I don't do that? Or what is the number of damage you're presenting? I know you can't change your damage anymore. I'm going to make my wards match that damage exactly, or let my stuff die because I know I'm only going to take 2 and I have better wards in my hand, and they get to make every decision point on both turns.
So
we've heard that like people feel that she plays similar like to a mix of like Icelander and Old Prism, which are everybody's 2 favorite heroes to play against. But I say that I joke, but I actually like deeply love both of those characters and think that they're like great design. And I think Enigma is maybe some of the more frustrating pieces of both of those, but I don't know. I think that there are answers for it. Like if you really hate it, just play Kodachis or something. But yeah, I don't know. I think that she will certainly frustrate a lot of players, but I think that her design is very interesting.
Yeah.
I think the first time I booted up Enigma, I was like, let me try and see what this means. And it was so crazy because I had a red spectral manifestations, create a spectral shield token. Then if you control no other illusionist auras, you may put 3/1/1 counters on it. So I did that. I have a spectral shield out on turn 0, And then guess what other card I have in? I have 10,000 Year Reunion, which I'm in the wrong part of February. Let me go to this part, which says you may remove 3/1/1 counters from among auras you control and do this instead of an 8 cost thing. So I had a Spectral Shield and a Ward 10. So the last card I had in my hand, I went ahead and pitched so I could swing a 10 damage weapon attack using Cosmos Scroll of Ancestral Tapestry. And that was turn 0. And then I got 4 cards to block with against KO. And KO couldn't get through my ward, so I still I blocked with my whole hand to keep my 10 ward up, -1 card or whatever, and swung 10. And then they did a Blood Rush with the Bare Fangs. And I was like, cool, ward 10, block all of it. And I beat a KO by 22 in my first time ever playing, like, literally I don't know if all the cards were released. We didn't have the headpiece by that time. And it was like, I'm putting in a small amount of, I don't know if I was playing a world beater KO player, but after struggling with KO in a couple other matchups, I was like, good Lord. I know that was a high roll, but I just smoked someone without trying. I don't want to see this hero with the people that have 6 years of illusionist practice.
Bro,
The
also,
headpiece is
sidebar,
nuts too.
How traverse the universe? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. Is like crazy. That headpiece is crazy on every level imaginable. It's like the card in the set.
It's Mask
if
of
you
the
ask me.
Pouncing Links. It's like it's defensive Pouncing Links that you get to use both effects. Like you get to block and you get to trigger it.
Give me sick. All right, so here's my question. Enigma seems good. Prism has been making some moves in this last season. Went from 0 to 254. Yeah, is that right? Yeah, 254
Sounds about right.
living legend points. We're going to have 2 illusionists that seem pretty good right now. And how is this going to affect the CC meta? Besides people complaining loudly everywhere.
It will certainly do that. I think, Brute. It's Brute time, maybe. Barraging Blake is feasting.
He just took out KO with Enigma without even trying.
I do think Reinar is going to be... I saw him on somebody's C tier list, and it was like, if Enigma and Prism are everyone's meta share that they're putting in all their time into, I would love to get in the ring with some of the best illusionists of all time and be like, all right, I just have 6 copies of Barraging Beatdown. Now you can't play your instant window speeds at an appropriate time because I'm going to start every turn with intimidating you first. And stuff like No Mercy, stuff like Barraging are going to add more than your ward is adding of my attacks are going to add more attack, then your wards are going to add defense, and you're going to be constantly losing points of health and doing nothing to return to me. And I'm going to just unload 3 Blood Rush Bellows per game against you because I don't think Enigma has an ALS. I don't know if we're going to treat everyone like they're going to be able to nail a fog down combo once a game, but it's not going to stop Reinar's other 2 Blood Rushes. I still have claws for at least a little bit. I am a little bit worried about Enigma if she takes the time to set up a major turn using those shoes of play your auras at instant speed and you put all the Everfest blue auras that matter of haze bending is I think the one thing someone said where I was like, I believe this, haze bending is Enigma's genesis of you have to get rid of this because you can't be giving her free spectral shields that she'll just use to attack you with 1/1/1/1/1/1 the whole game, or put +1 counters on them, or it makes your math bad of now she can get the math exactly on wards instead of now you're 1 or 2 over and getting a bigger ward if you keep giving her those spectral shields. I think Shimmers is a little scary, but Shimmers seems like an action point to play Shimmers is pretty like, oh, I don't know, because if I have anything that attacks you first and then can hit the Shimmers at the end of the turn, that's not going to work against ninjas that well at all. So I do think, Rhinar time, but we've said that for 16 years, so probably not. And I was kind of like, hey, there's no brute cards in this set. That's so messed up. Not realizing that we just got the KO box of stuff, so shut up. Like,
Shut up.
There's a Levia card.
There's a Levia card where I think that with Sash is going to be cool for all the brutes are going to be fine. I'm just worried about like if you just put a bunch of money into warrior stuff and we're like, oh, Decimator Dory, here we go. You're getting absolutely bodied by Enigma in about 10 minutes every day for the rest of your life, I feel like. Because Ward doesn't it. Yeah, Ward doesn't turn on Decimator Axe.
Good.
Good.
So you don't get value out of Decimator. One question I do have for you, Zayne, about Zen that I don't get is like, I don't get the design of this. I don't think I ever really asked design questions too much, but we do have Zen's hero power saying, create a crouching tiger in your hand. If you pitch a chi, search your deck for a card with combo, banish it, then shuffle. You may play it this turn. But none of the Mystic Ninja cards have the word combo written on it.
They sure don't.
And that's something where I'm like, well, if that's part of your hero power, how was that not part of your kit?
Even his Majestics don't, right?
None of his cards have combo written on them.
Like, there's the previously printed Key Unleashed, the 2 for 7 after a tiger, and then there's Pouncing Key, which is the 0 for 4 go again after a tiger. Right. That's kind of it. I mean, there's Swipe, Tiger Swipe, of course, is like the classic, like if you're going for a combo. But they really have seemed to not want that to be the path by printing Stonewall Gauntlet and what's the Blue Mist card? The
Anti-war, Art of War -1.
Yeah, the anti-Art of War card is just so rude. Like, I do wonder if they were very scared of his power level. Dense Blue Mist is the name. Attacks that target, you get -1. Like, and if you pitched a chi, no effects trigger. That is just crazy against Zen, who's clearly trying to attack 1/1/1/1/1/1/1. And then if you combine it with the gloves, you can literally remove 2 Art of Wars or 2 Roars. That has led me to want to play him as like a value deck, like trying to get value out of things like Key Unleashed and Pouncing Key and kind of play him like Ira. But he just doesn't have the tools to make that good enough as far as I can see. But it's a shame. I think that I was hoping for a Dishonor-like effect. Maybe not that exact text, of course, but like something, or like Assault the Wound, similar feel of like, oh, for every tiger that hits something. But we really don't have that yet. So maybe that's coming with our Betsy log in the next set. But
I just don't think we can wait for this all the time and be like, okay, great. I think the other thing that I don't know if you're excited about this, Taylor. Like, have you killed anybody with last ditch effort? And now are you excited to kill somebody for 9 for 20 last ditch effort? That cosmic card, I feel like, could be a build around for all the fatigue people out there.
That feels like one of the trap cards, There's like always a majestic trap card, a cosmic awakening. I don't think it's it.
I think it's similar to Last Ditch Effort. I think it's possible it sees play. I think that card on its own is not good, and then you read the headpiece, and then you go, "Oh,
it's a blue black 3.
Now this costs 6. This costs 6, and attacks for 10 at base."
But for new, right? Like if that's our fatigue hero in the set, you know, or a hero that would like to go late. That's like, well, I can't trade my crazy headpiece for this other crazy headpiece. You know what I mean? Like Mask of Nightmares is also pretty insane, and I don't think you skip it to play Cosmic Awakening. But you could play it like as a one of. It could be in there. It could be a better payoff for the last ditch effort combo. I will say though about Ninja, it's like, is there? I mean, this is maybe a further question. Is the class identity kind of swimming? Like we don't really know what a ninja is anymore, other than like Katsu feels the most ninja. You know what I mean? Like we're in some Zen feels like it's in a hinterland between Phi and something else. You know what I mean? Is this making sense? I do think there's probably something there that he maybe is pushed into a design space that's like a little trying to fill a different or like flex the ninja class somewhere else potentially, other than just like vomiting a bunch of cards out onto a combat chain. Like how many different ways can we do that? So maybe that's what they're going for. But yeah, I guess that's the question, is like, is the design of ninja too kind of limiting the class identity, not broad enough?
It feels like it. Like, I mean, it in some ways it like makes total sense. A ninja just won't stop hitting you. You're just like, oh my God, how many times have you hit me and just kept on hitting me this turn? That feels very martial arts and ninja. I think the problem, for me at least, is like the play style of that is just to play all your cards, you know, like, and deck build correctly and maybe like craft a hand a little bit. And it feels like Zen is more towards that idea of like having to craft your hand and make sure that like you have these things that will work together to do a really cool barrage of attacks, you know, crouching tigers and buffing this and getting bonuses from that and comboing that. You know, it's like that it feels like where it's trying to go. But it also seems so deeply tied to the crouching tiger idea that it feels very one note or even brittle, like in how it is supposed to achieve what it's trying to do. But that's with absolutely no experience playing it. So, you know, it's probably correct. Taylor, your hand is up.
There's this really fun, I don't know, it's like a deck collecting game, Combo Fighter, which I highly recommend, but that's only if you're currently not playing Flesh and Blood, not playing Sorcery, and not playing your other game that you're not playing. But so it takes a lot of, as Colin points to all of his unplayed games in his room, I think, it takes a lot from arcade fighting games. And so it's basically like, if you play this shape followed by this shape, then by this shape, you can then trigger this ability. But then if you do that shape plus this shape plus that shape, it's another ability. And then and then some of the cards have like more than one shape on them, that type of thing. So it almost feels like Zen is trying to do something like that. Like, here's all these, I can like have all of these tiny little combos, and I have like kind of a big coup de grace finisher. But maybe that's just ninja in general. But I feel like, I don't know, somebody else here needs to have played Combo Fighter to help me explain this a little bit better. But Combo Fighter does a better job as a ninja than maybe ninjas are doing, because you also get to yell out the combo you do, you know, like Drunken Sway or Tiger Pounce Fist, or shaka raka if you're the gal who's on roller skates. Yeah, you know. So that I don't know. Maybe that's what we need to do.
That's
Yell
an interesting
stuff
idea.
out.
If it was more brought, you know, the class of ninja was more approached more like a fighting game, you know, like an arcade fighting game where you have to do like these inputs to like do this special thing, like, which I think it's kind of trying to do with the, if you've played this before, you know, it's like, it's this very, you know, this move leads into this move, and you need to know those combos. You need to know that when I light jab that I can cancel into this special move, and I can do that. But I think the way it ends up, so in some ways it very much is that, but the way it ends up being is just like, well, I don't have that card, so I can't do it. Whereas in a fighting game, like your only limitation is like hitting and or doing the inputs correctly. So it's like a weird thing when you're kind of limited by the arbitrary names of cards, which I think they did interesting with like the Be Like Water stuff, where you can, that's one where you can add names to the cards, you know, so it's like that kind of thing kind of tries to fix that issue, I think, because you can then, you know, whatever card you need, you can say that's the card it was, which is very interesting. So I think there's a lot there. It just ends up not being, you know, I don't know. Like I said, it just feels like, okay, well, I just play these cards out because that's what I got, and they don't block very well. So I'm just gonna do what I can.
Well, one thing that I'm wondering, are we at the point in Flesh and Blood where the card pool's big enough for you to do whatever the hell you want? Or is it kind of like, oh, I have to play the Mystic cards that are with the Mystic heroes, or their hero power doesn't work? Or, yes, there's a lot of new ninja cards, but I'm still, my bonds of whatever with Katsu doesn't really get better with all these tiger stuff, so nothing really for me either. Like one thing that just went through my head is could New get gold from starting stake, or have the gold headpiece Royal New, and now she's going to do performance bonus with blues because you're not going to block a 1, and now she builds up gold, and she has contracts with paydays and makes a bunch of silver, and now she has 4 golds and 9 silver up, and this is gold silver New. That's completely different. I tricked you. And now I have to go click the actual cards because there's one card that matters when you attack with it called Deep Blue Sea. This gets +1 for each blue card you've pitched this turn. And then Wild Blue Yonder is an attack reaction that gets +1 for each blue card you've pitched this turn. And now you're pitching your blues to break your gold, break your gold, break your gold, break your gold, break your silver, 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 break your silver. So now you're doing, that attack reaction is doing 14. The bonus is 14. You made your own cosmic damage card or whatever. And your opponent was like, yeah, I don't care if you performance bonus, give me a gold. What are you going to do to use it? Or you're going to wait for your cash in turn? And you're like, brother, you have no idea what's about to hit you.
Let him cook. Blake just cracked the meta right there. It's Royal New. I got too much money.
I feel like some people are like, oh, those cards block for 2, they're trash. And you're like, I don't know. What I said is kind of cool. Payday, come on in.
It's
easier than ever to
like
use Payday.
Blake, to build those decks to show us all the way, because no one else is going to do it.
I'll build it right now while you guys are talking. It will be in the description later. Do not worry.
The deck list is below. Nice.
That's a new way to play New.
Well,
Tight.
This is going to be fun. I'm very excited for this set. I full turnaround from I'm not going to buy boxes anymore to like I'm buying boxes. For sure. There's too many cool cards that are not easy to get. I'm finding buying singles is always like well, this is actually really expensive because I waited too long or I didn't wait long enough. I don't actually know how it works. Timing the market is bad. So if I just own them already, it'll be great. And I'll have more fun. So
If you like a class and there's a Fringe Bad Majestic that you don't own, go buy it literally right now. If you didn't own Phantom Tide Maws and you had to pay $100 for a playset of Tide Maws, that's on you. If you play a class or may be interested in a class and there's a $2 Majestic that you may play, just go get them, have it in the binder. Don't be caught lacking.
yep. Don't be like me. I don't have Phantom.
Great
Tide Maws.
advice.
All right. Well, is that it then? Do we have any other things to say
So
about
money where your
That's all
mouth
I
is, performance bonus, wage gold.
Shred. You can shred on wage gold.
it?
Oh
Nice.
shit.
Nice. All right. The next
Crown
30
of the
minutes of this
Minion.
is just Blake and live deck building.
I mean, is there contracts new or is it that's stupid because it doesn't do anything with her hero power or her mystic cards? Like I think that's something
I
that
think
is
there's
maybe a little
something there.
frustrating. Okay.
The thing that I am looking at with new is like, can you break Eradicate? Because she has
Yeah,
a bajillion attack reactions. So can you just eradicate 5 times a game for 15? Maybe.
Or
you know.
double trouble 5 times a game too.
Yeah, ever since you
Eradicate.
said Eradicate needs to be broken, Zane, I slapped it right into new and was like, yeah, I think we can do this.
Are we about
know?
to deck
Yeah.
build the rest of night, boys? Fab is back.
So back, baby.
We are so back.
All right. Well, that's it. Thank you all for being here with us. This was episode 90. Remember 89? You got to
I do
join
not.
the Patreon to get access to that one. So if you'd like to support the show, like and subscribe. Join our Patreon for as little as $4 a month. It's $4. Spent $4
That's
on
one pack of Part to Mistveil.
Yeah.
Less.
Even less, depending on your store and how much they're ripping you off. No. Support your LGS. Support us. Support women. Believe women. This has been a wild time, but we'll get through this together as a community that cares enough about each other to give a damn. So thank you all for everything, and we'll see you next time.
Bye,
Goodbye.
everyone.